On behalf of the Asia Pacific Down Syndrome Federation, I welcome everybody to the Congress. The 21st century is frequently projected to be the Asian century as the political and economic cloud is shifting towards the Asia Pacific region. East and Southeast Asia rank among the most dynamic regions of economic development. Most countries in the region are experiencing considerable economic growth, however, now subdued due to the pandemic that exists in the world. Several Asian countries have emerged even stronger from the economic and financial crisis. Japan, Korea, and China, in particular, have developed into a regional hub and a global player in recent times. In terms of demography, Asia becomes more important globally. Approximately 60% of the world population live in Asia, mostly in China and India. Many of the world's biggest cities and metropolitan areas are situated in Asia. Example, Tokyo, Delhi, Mumbai, Kuala Lumpur, Seoul, Shanghai, Beijing, and Jakarta, for example. The region continues to be an area of numerous political crises and unresolved ethnic and social conflicts. Therefore, intensifying cooperation and social values in the region is of substantial importance. A third of the global population lives in China and India, with over 1 billion people living in each country. Just to have an idea of Down syndrome in the Asia Pacific region, the numbers can truly be staggering. Approximately 430,000 people are born with Down syndrome every year in this area, in this region. In general, the people across most of these countries are still unable to accept the condition. Institutionalization is still quite common, with no proper medical treatment for complications such as heart disorders, vision, and other problems in many countries. This results in children with Down syndrome dying through infancy or early adulthood. This brings us naturally to the question, why is there a need for a body like the APDSF? We are generally asked, why was it necessary to start an Asia Pacific Federation when there are existing international organizations dealing with Down syndrome? We believe that the region needs to be represented more factually. We are a diverse region with many cultural differences consisting of people with varied races and characteristics. In certain societies, disabilities can be perceived as being related to misconduct in an earlier life. Also, in some instances, a family member with a disability is perceived as a disgrace to the family, which is another important reason for raising public awareness concerning disability issues. Down syndrome awareness in our region is poor, except for some countries. Therefore, an organization that could bring together all the countries became imperative. The Asia Pacific region by far has the largest number of people with disabilities in the world. Most of them are poor, their concerns unknown, and their rights overlooked. Over 400 million people with disabilities live in and around the Asian and Pacific region of the world. A sad fact is that less than 5% of children with disabilities attend school in many Asia Pacific countries. Coming to women and girls, they often suffer double discrimination and some even have less access to education. People with disabilities are routinely denied opportunities for work and education and face barriers in accessing places and services which in other communities are taken for granted. Too often, they are the victims of violence, sexual abuse, forced sterilization, and institutionalization. In 2008, the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities came into force. The real challenge today is to make the rights set out in the Convention a reality in the day-to-day lives of people with disabilities. Let us now take a look at APDSF over the years. The APDSF is a federation of countries in the Asia-Pacific region with representation from various organizations. It started as an unregistered body in 1992. Only 5 members initially came to address issues related to Down syndrome: Australia, Malaysia, Singapore, New Zealand, and India. The focus, however, has always remained the same: awareness, healthcare, community inclusion, and education, the 5 major issues that children with disabilities need an answer till date. In 2016, at the APDSF meeting in Singapore, it was decided to make APDSF a registered body that would be able to address the needs of the Down syndrome population in the Asia-Pacific region. In March 2017, APDSF became an independent registered body. APDSF meetings were held even when we are not registered. 2012 in Singapore, 2014 in Bali, 2016 in Singapore when 13 countries were present. It was in 2017 in New Delhi that the first meeting of APDSF after it was registered as a body was organized. 11 countries attended the meeting. Since then, we have had an AGM every year in various countries. Even the lockdown could not prevent us from having our AGMs, and in 2020 and in 2021, we met virtually thanks to the lockdown. This year, we had representations from 16 countries and reports from 3 more countries who could not be present due to technical issues. Each year, we grew as an organization, and there has been constant exchange of ideas and information. Even as we stand here, there are countries sending in their interest in being a part of APDSF. Our current members include Australia, Bangladesh, Bhutan, China, Hong Kong, India, Maldives, Indonesia, Mongolia, Myanmar, Nepal, New Zealand, Pakistan, Singapore, Sri Lanka, Thailand, UAE, and Vietnam. What is the mission of the APDSF? To create and develop conditions that enable people with Down syndrome live full and rewarding lives and attain full potential. Providing assistance to persons with Down syndrome to improve and develop their standing in society. Organizing conferences and lecture meetings on topics of interest for persons with Down syndrome, children, parents. Undertaking charitable activities in connection with Down syndrome in the Asia-Pacific region. We are willing to do anything incidental and conducive to the attainment of the above mission. I would now like to touch upon the activities of APDSF that have taken place in the past and continue to do so. A. Creating awareness about Down syndrome across the region. B. Organizing seminars and conferences for the Asia-Pacific region. Providing medical support and assistance through our medical committee, chaired by Dr. Bhavani Sriram from Singapore. Members, in their capacity as office bearers or representatives, connect with sponsors, donors for support of persons with Down syndrome in the region, organizing training sessions to improve the condition of persons with Down syndrome, assisting in research and development activities across the region, connecting with various national bodies to disseminate information and provide solutions for various issues related to Down syndrome. Spreading information about WSD celebrations across the region. It is important to recognize efforts to encourage persons working in the field of Down syndrome so that they feel inspired to do more. APDSF recognizes this, and so we have started the APDSF Excellence Awards in the field of Down syndrome. We invite nominations from APDSF countries for awards in 3 categories: outstanding research in the area of Down syndrome, outstanding effort for the cause of Down syndrome, outstanding self-advocacy for persons with Down syndrome. The purpose of these annual awards is to recognize those who have made significant contributions that have influenced positive change in the field of Down syndrome in the Asia Pacific region. We have our own e-newsletter, the APDSF e-news, that carries articles of interest for persons across the region. We request for articles from various countries in the region, including non-members. This creates an information hub which is beneficial for everybody. The Asia Pacific region has been witnessing changes. Persons with Down syndrome are becoming more confident than ever. They are being, the APDSF newsletter brings forth news of these changes from across the region every quarter. I would now like to touch upon the recent activities that we have done as a body. Since 2018, APDSF countries have been represented at the WSD conference celebrations at the UN in Geneva on March 21. The first such representation was in 2018 when Dr. Surekha Ramachandran from India spoke on genetic culling at the UN General Assembly. Countries like Nepal, Singapore, Australia, Mongolia have represented themselves at the UN in Geneva. We are proud of the fact that self-advocates from various countries have represented the region during these meetings and have created a lasting impact on members. The heartening fact is that despite the lockdown years, APDSF has had representations at the UN. In 2021, self-advocates, parents, and professionals made these presentations. These self-advocates come from various fields like education, sports, and employment, have earned the respect of all members who have attended the event. They were able to adapt to the online space so comfortably that it makes our heart swell with pride. We intend to provide opportunities for more countries to send their representatives to the UN to have a balanced view on Down syndrome. On the subject of UN, we have in the month of October 2021 received the special consultative status from ESOC, the Economic and Social Council of the United Nations. This will enable the APDSF and its members to provide more opportunity for them at the United Nations. Our endeavor would be to create a better world for persons with Down syndrome in this region with the support of the United Nations. We also believe that helping each other is important to provide a good support system. Under this scheme, looms were presented to Nepal for persons with Down syndrome and training was also provided. Mongolia is providing assistance to their neighbor, Kazakhstan. We are looking at this kind of mutual assistance to help create a more inclusive world for people with Down syndrome. A medical passport has been created for persons with Down syndrome. This passport is a repository of information on the health of a person with Down syndrome from birth. This helps doctors, caregivers to understand the needs of the individual with Down syndrome. This passport has been shared with all members in the region and is in use by many of them. China, in fact, has translated this passport into their own regional languages for use by their parents. We also provide support to countries for formation of a national body where none are present. India and Latvia are looking at collaboration in terms of medical information for Down syndrome. Presently, we are in the process of collation of information of Down syndrome in the region, and this will be shared with other countries. We intend to organize medical conferences for APDSF countries with global experts on Down syndrome, which would be beneficial to each and every member country. Our next medical conference is being planned in Chennai in the first half of 2022. All medical committee representatives from across the region will attend the conference where work is being done on the work being done in their country and also to understand and promulgate guidelines for Down syndrome for the region. The road ahead. As a body, we need to look ahead. It is our intention to plan and create a Down syndrome register and database in this region. This database will help us assess the number of persons with Down syndrome, which in turn will help us seek support from various governments to help them lead better lives. While we have a medical committee in place, we desire to expand our reach to provide facilities to all persons with Down syndrome. Towards this, we are inviting medical professionals from each country to be a part of this medical group. This medical group will create guidelines to support our self-advocates in many Asian countries where awareness is lacking. We are also looking at creating awareness on legal rights through individual country representatives. This is imperative for the betterment of the lives of persons with Down syndrome. Asia Pacific is huge, and it is essential that we try and reach to the innermost regions of most countries through camps that are organized by the respective country association with the guidance of APDSF. Asia is struggling with the basic subjects such as awareness and healthcare. As I conclude, we have what I call the APDSF mantra. APDSF aims to change attitudes in society for our final goal, that is inclusion. Persons with challenges need to be visible, and APDSF has to and will create a change in the Asia Pacific region towards achieving our goal of an inclusive society and thereby an inclusive world. Thank you.